So I made a horror game, but before I tell you why and how, a little bit about myself. Hello, my name's Iris, I'm starting my second year of high school, and sometime last winter I decided to start making games in Unity. Firstly, I made a few 2D games using YouTube tutorials, but this summer I made my own game, more of a shitty demo for, honestly, I think a great idea I had for a game, but that's not happening anytime soon. Anyways, back to the video. So, why make a horror game? Well, because I wanted to make a proper game I could actually finish in about a week before I started school again. At first, I could not find an idea, but that day I had to walk alone to the mall and it dawned on me. A game about walking alone. How to make that scary? Easy. Walking alone at night. Boom, that's the game. Now, on to how I made it. The first day wasn't too eventful. After coming up with the concept, I was only looking for some low poly assets, but I couldn't find a humanoid character to use for the creepy guy that's following you. That was the entirety of day 1. Day 2 rolled around and I decided to make my own model for that creepy guy in Blender. Doesn't look great, but I thought it'd work since you weren't meant to see him close up. That final jump scare idea came up later, so I rigged him up with Mixamo so I could pose him and give him animations if I wanted to. Spoiler, he has no animations. After opening up a new Unity project, I decided to do the character controller using Bracky's video, and I added some footsteps after that. That evening, I started to work on looping the environment. I simply made it loop so that I won't have to design the level entirely because I hate doing environments. So I got to work on the script. I think I should try to explain how I made the repeating environment script. So here's a video of me explaining it very, very poorly, but I think you can get the idea somewhat of what I did, so enjoy. So to make the platforms repeat, I have a trigger collider at the beginning of each platform. As you can see here, that's the second one, and this is the first one. This thing here, over here, that is the trigger collider. Basically how this works is that when the player walks through, which is in this other script, basically when the player walks through one of those platform triggers, I call them, I have this game object called trigger that is public that I access in the repeat environment script, and a bool that turns to true when you do walk through that collider. And when that happens, basically I start this coroutine which waits for 5 seconds first, so that if you turn around within 5 seconds to look behind you, there's still environment. I've noticed that some people looked behind them later than that, so maybe I should have made this a longer time frame, but I didn't know how long it took you to walk through the entire platform, so I didn't want you to get close to the edge of one platform and just see it spawn in. I'd rather see it despawn. I didn't expect people to look behind them that much, but they did. I guess that's to be expected. It is a horror game after all. And then over here, I moved the current platform, which is the one they just walked off of. I have this script only applied to one platform at a time. So I have this transform here that represents the position of the platform that the player just walked onto. Because this script is applied to the platform that they will walk off of, I move that platform to the position of the next platform, plus the platform size, so that it's not at the exact position, it's in front of that platform. And onto the platform that they just walked onto, I add this script and then remove it from this previous one. Now, I think I did a terrible job at explaining that, so hopefully you understand, but the idea is pretty simple. Now, I don't know if there was a much better way to implement this, but I could not find a tutorial, so I had to come up with my own idea. And I mean, it gets the job done. It's not perfect, but it works, and I wrote it from my own head, so I'm pretty proud of that. God, that was an absolutely terrible explanation, but let's get back to the video. On day 3, I worked on the environment a little bit as well, but I ended up watching a live stream of the Last of Us 1 remake all day, so no more work was done that day. On day 4, I finished the environment, and it was finally time to move on to my favorite part, programming. I had a problem with some decorations not moving along with the platforms, which I fixed by unchecking the static box on the objects. I added the PSX rent some ambient noise and made a few scares. The biggest problem I had that day was figuring out how to make the typewriter effect on the text, but I found a video which you can see on the screen right now. By the end of the day, I only had the final jump scare left to finish, but I moved on to the main menu since it was creeping me out too much, since it was like 12 in the morning. And before I knew it, it was day 5, the final day. I spent the entire day finishing and uploading the game. I finished the jump scare and the intro sequence with the text. By 5 p.m, I was working on the itch.io page, which took about an hour to finish, and then the game was public. I sent the link to a friend and watched him play it. He broke the hell out of it. I went back to the project and fixed the major issues he had, and I uploaded the new version. This script was written a day after release, and I was surprised to see that some people actually left a review on the game with a link of their playthrough. I'm recording this voiceover about a week after I released the game, and all I can say is that I'm surprised with the amount of people that played it and made a video on it and left the reviews. Fun fact, when I was at school on Friday, I went on itch.io on the school computer, scrolling through the horror page, and like third from the top was my game. I was very surprised to see that. I didn't expect a lot of people to play it, but I guess itch.io gives a lot of spotlight to like new games and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm really grateful for all the people that played it. There's actually one person that donated $1. I hope that they meant to donate and didn't just think that the game actually did cost $1. Because I sent the link to another friend, and when she wanted to download it, she's like, but I have to pay for it. No, you don't. Because the donate button is like a lot bigger than the download button on itch.io. So I hope that they did actually mean to donate, which I appreciate very much. Now, these are some of the things that I learned by watching people play my game. Most people miss the scare since the game is pretty dark and the scary dude is not in the most obvious spots. It also doesn't help that he's black, so he blends with the rest of the game. That's the biggest issue since it's not much of a horror game if you can't see the thing that's supposed to be scaring you. Some people like to walk on the sidewalk, not the road, which I guess makes sense since that's how we walk in real life, even if there aren't any cars anywhere, but that's not what I had in mind when making the game. I intended for people to walk in the middle of the road, hence the invisible walls along the sidewalk. A big lesson from this was that people are not going to play your game the way that you intended it to, so you've got to player-proof your game. Because people are just not going to play it how you wanted them to play it. So if they play it another way, you have to make sure that they still don't miss any of the things that you want them to see. So you got to find a way to show what you want to show, regardless of how they play the game. That's about it. Last thing I want to say is thank you to everyone that played the game, especially that guy that donated $1. That's crazy. I watched all of the videos, and I will keep in mind everything that was said for my future game. There will be an itch.io link to the game if you want to play if you haven't already. That's where you can also find the source code, a GitHub link to the source code, if you want to see my terrible scripts. So, thank you. I will see you whenever next time will be, maybe with a new game, hopefully. Again, thank you to everyone who played it, and I'll see you next time.